Hello class and welcome to GEOS 330W. I'll be your instructor. My name is Eric Willard. And what you see in front of you right now is the Blackboard Learn homepage for our class. And you'll notice that on the side of our Blackboard Learn page we have a number of different content areas. They include the welcome landing page, class lecture videos, lecture slides, book chapters, readings, assignments, quizzes, research essays. That's all content. And then also different ways to communicate. And in this class we'll be working in groups. We'll also be able to email one another, and you can check on your grades through the communications area. In the end, there's a number of different resource links that are provided in each class that's taken on Blackboard Learn. These include generic library resources, student resources, and ways to get help in case you're having problems. Down here at the bottom, you'll see that there's a tab which allows you to look at the group that you're in. For the purposes of this demonstration, it shows me as being enrolled in Unit 1, Group 1. Each of you will have a different group that you'll be a part of that includes two other students from the class with which you'll be getting to do group work and learn about one another and work together to try to navigate the difficult texts and concepts that we have in this class. So let me start with the welcome page. What I want to do with this video is to give you a kind of overview of the class, similar to what I do the first day of in-person classes. I'll review the syllabus details. I'll go over the first couple of assignments for the first week and hopefully get you a feeling of orientation toward the course's classwork and where we'll be going. So as I mentioned, the syllabus is right here on the landing page. GEOS 330W is the course, and it's environmental science. The W means that it's a writing intensive course. My name is Eric Willard. My office is Holt 104. If any of you happen to be on campus any day and you want to come by and talk to me, I am in office hours on Thursday from 9 to 11 or from 2 to 4 p.m. or by appointment. I'm only on campus on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I am an adjunct lecturer, so I'm not on campus every day of the week. My phone is 898-5340. Feel free to call me if you prefer to communicate that way. I prefer email. It gives me a nice text string that I can refer to in the future, so email is also a great way to get a hold of me, probably the best way as far as I'm concerned. There are required texts for the course. They are detailed right here in the syllabus. The title of the text is Environmental Science for a Changing World. And the authors are Ann Hauptman, S. Carr, and J. Interlandi. The ISBN number which you can use to look up the textbook is here. And I have also put 3 copies of this textbook on loan in the library. So you can, if you're on campus at Chico State and happen to be around, you can go to the library and you can check the book out. 1 copy is a 24-hour checkout, and the 2 other copies are 2-hour checkouts. There are other texts that you will be reading in this course, and any other necessary text will be supplied to you. Something that I've done to try to alleviate the pressure of getting the book right away is I have supplied the book chapters. Oops, no internet connection. I've supplied the book chapters for your convenience in the content area labeled book chapters. So if you want to go and read chapter 1, all you have to do is read this PDF file, which is located in this content area. I've supplied the first 3 readings. After that, it'll be up to you to have the book on your own, to have acquired the book in order to ensure that you're getting all the information necessary for completing the course. So chapters 1, 2, and 4, which correlate with the very first portion of our class in terms of content. Some things about me that you may not know. I am a proud father of a 2.5-year-old, and as such, I'm reading a lot of Dr. Seuss books. And one of my favorite quotes is "From there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere," by Dr. Seuss. And I've just been enjoying reliving some of those childhood memories and rediscovering what it was like to be a kid again. So that's been a lot of fun for me and my wife. We also just recently moved back up to Red Bluff and are living in Red Bluff, where we're taking over the family farm operations. We have prune orchards. So that's a little insight into why this little quote is here, my favorite quote, which I provided for you. I also think about this class and the way that this quote engages with this class is as you go through and read these different aspects of content for the course, things like human population, things like climate change, fossil fuel use, the food supply, genetic modification, you can't help but feel like all these things are just really bizarre and amazing. Really kind of boggles my mind what we as human beings are capable of doing. And so that's one of the reasons why Dr. Seuss's take on things really resonated with me. So let's get back to more of the details or logistics of the course. What is this course about? Well, the course provides an analysis of present and long-term global and local environmental problems, coverage of scientific concepts needed to understand human society and its environmental interactions. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we'll be looking both here locally in California, what are we dealing with, and also globally. And what I think of locally is water and agriculture, two big commodities, that resources that are under pressure and influence one another, as well as climate. And climate, obviously, and water and food are a global problem. So we'll be looking at those different scales and analyzing the implications for the environment, implications for society, humans, and even some implications in terms of how do we incorporate these into our economic systems. One of the ways that we'll be approaching the material is through research papers. So you will take quizzes, you will read chapters, but in the end, the biggest projects we have, or the biggest portion of your grade, comes from research papers that you're doing in this course. It is a writing intensive course, and you can see the distribution of your points here on this table. So make sure you spend some time looking at the table with the distribution of the points. You can see that it's in percentages. Research paper 1 being 10%, paper 2 15%, and they increase as we get towards that third paper. We also have a lifestyle project, which you'll hear a lot more about in the coming weeks, and I'll release an entire assignment sheet related to getting you to reduce your ecological footprint. And then there will be weekly assignments in terms of reading journal articles, discussing with your group members those journal articles, watching videos, and discussing with your group members those videos, as well as quizzes that are a weekly, lumped in with that weekly 25% of your grade. One of the major important learning moments in this class is doing peer reviews. And since we're doing research papers, it's important that you have a chance to see what your peers are producing. And so part of the class is that before you turn in research paper 1 to me, you'll actually distribute your paper to the other people in your group, and they will take some time to go through a rubric and give you feedback on your paper. And in that way, you'll get some feedback on what makes sense in your paper, what doesn't make sense in your paper, and you'll also get a chance to be an editor. No one in the world writes in a vacuum, and at least no professional writers do, I should say. All professional writers have an editor, and that editor is there to hear things that they can't hear. The writer who has written the paper, or written the book or the novel or whatever it may be. And so similarly in this class, we will have peers who will act as editors. And the hope is that while you're practicing your editing skills, you will also get a chance to think about writing in a different way, to view other people's writing in a different way, so that you might reflect on your own with more thoughtfulness. And it's true for me. The more that I've had to read students' papers and to edit students' papers, the better I have become at writing my own papers. I can see where other people can make unclear statements that then when I try to write something down off the cuff and realize that it sounds unclear when you read it, then I can kind of self-edit. And this peer review portion is an important part of you gaining that consciousness and those skills to develop as a writer, which is one of the main takeaways of this course. In the end, we will have a cumulative final exam, and that final exam is worth 10% of your grade. Also, very important that you are keeping up with content in the class so that you can help to put those in your long-term memory, so that when you get to the day of the final exam, you can pull that information out of your long-term memory and then use it to answer questions on the final exam. So I'm not going to go through the entire syllabus line by line. I've done more than I wanted to already. I'm going to let you be responsible for reading about scientific research papers, for reading what is scientific writing. These are all important aspects of the class. Here's a little bit more about the lifestyle project. And then another really important part is the tentative class schedule. And you can see the progression of the class is broken into 3 different units. So we're in Unit 1 right now, which includes chapters 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8, as well as some handouts and PowerPoints on scientific writing and research. And the first unit of the course will end on September 30th, when we turn in our first final draft of our first research paper. And before that, notice that you will be turning in a rough draft, and that rough draft is when you will be doing that peer review activity that I just discussed earlier. With each of these chapters, there's a quiz online that's associated with it, and all those quizzes are going to be released in a chunk. So all chapters 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and scientific research and writing quizzes will all be made available to you within the week. And some of them are up already. The only one that I still need to develop is this scientific research and writing quiz, as well as a syllabus quiz, but they should be up very soon. They're due by September 30th. They're all due. So those quizzes are at your leisure. What I see many students have problems with is self-regulation in these online courses. So don't wait until the day before they're due to do them all. It takes time. If you can, schedule some time to do these one at a time during each week, or perhaps maybe chunks of time where you can do 2 or 3 at a time to knock them out, and make sure that you're paying attention to the due dates and the progression of the semester. Online courses are easy to lose track of because you don't have a daily meeting time, or I'm sorry, weekly meeting time, where you get together and get reminded of all the different things that are going on in the course. Then we'll move on to section 2, where we talk about water and agriculture. Section 2 lasts for about a month, and your second research paper is due by the end of October. And then we have, we repeat in Unit 3, more chapters to read, more quizzes to take, and a final research paper to do. And I will be releasing more assignments. This is just a brief overview of the class content. It does not include all the assignments. It does not include all the journal articles that we'll be reading. It is your responsibility to keep up with the class, to be checking your email, to be checking online to make sure that new assignments that may have popped up during week 2, you're completing on time, that you're staying engaged in the community of practice that we develop in our online worlds. I'm hoping that we can, with the technology there is today, we can create real relationships in this online course, and have a chance to actually get to know one another. The bottom of the syllabus is more kind of boilerplate things about plagiarism, confidentiality, etc. I can't stress enough how important it is not to plagiarize material. Avoid plagiarism at all costs. It is a punishment. It is a crime, basically punishable by expulsion from school. So don't do it. We will be writing research papers, and it can be very tempting to cut and paste. And one of the reasons that I use Turnitin as the way that we turn in our research essays is that it checks for plagiarism. It checks websites, it checks previous students' work to see whether those texts have been turned in or can be found online. So it's pretty easy for me to know whether you're plagiarizing, whether you're cutting and pasting. Don't do it. Everything needs to be put in your own words. Okay, well, what about the first assignments for the course? There's a couple of things that I've put up for you to do that I'd like you to look into. So the first assignment is actually a group assignment. So if you go to your groups, or you can actually just scroll to the bottom and go to Unit 1, Group 1, and click on the group discussion board. When you come to the group discussion board, you'll see two different discussion boards. One is group introductions, and the other is a reading games exercise. Both of these are detailed descriptions of the assignment, so I'm not going to go through and tell you what to do. Please go and complete them. There are points associated with these discussion board activities, and they're basically ways for you to start to know one another and to start to think about how to read difficult texts. The reading games is particularly geared towards giving you tools to deal with difficult research articles that you will be confronted with in this class as you try to research content which isn't probably in your area of expertise. This is a GE course. The majority of people who take this course are non-science majors, so reading scientific journal articles, reading scientific text takes a specific type of mindset, and this reading games article is really invaluable in giving you tools that will help you to sift through, to navigate, and to kind of absorb as much of the material as you can from those journal articles and from those resources, and then to be able to try to work with that material. So take your time, read the reading games article, answer these questions, and interact with your group mates. Learning is a social activity, and I, as a learner, became an expert learner as I went through my education. But it's really not until I've become a teacher that I've solidified in my long-term memory concepts, which were just barely kept in my short-term memory while I needed to complete quizzes or to complete exams. If we can try to articulate in words the concepts which we are learning, we will better retain those concepts, and we'll be able to actually fit those concepts into our long-term memory more efficiently as a result of having to try to talk about them. Talking is learning. And I also have another saying that I like to use, which is the person who does the work does the learning. And I can do a lot of work in this class and put a lot of material forth for you, but if you're not working on absorbing that material and making the best use of it, then you're not going to learn the material. So it's really up to you to find the time and put forth the effort to learn the content. Okay, I think I've gone long enough in terms of a welcome to the course. I'm glad to have you all in this course. I look forward to getting to know you guys through email, through Zoom meetings, through just course discussions on discussion boards. So please feel free to reach out to me via email or to call me, and I'd be happy to talk with any of you about the class and about your college experience. I look forward to talking to you all soon.